Hello there, and welcome, Dragon Cat. Whoa,
Happy Labor Day.
hold up.
Hello and welcome to Virtue's Last Reward. Last time we did the final room in the game. This time we're about to see what the fuck we're going to get into this time.
Um,
Spoiler warning: several cutscenes will will play in sequence.
there
I
we go.
find it funny that you're making that reference, considering you have not gotten to the point where you experienced your first iteration of it yet. I am aware of the meme.
Hey, thanks for the happy Labor Day. Also, yeah, I don't know why my VTuber was small, but it was. I had to fix that.
Small mole,
Yeah.
please. Pull the lever, Kronk.
In a second, in a second.
Realizing that's also very funny considering that we actually established that you're the second well, I guess you're the middle range in height out of all of us if we include Loey.
Hmm.
Me? Oh shit.
'Cause-
Put my phone on silent so you guys don't hear a fantastic Mr. Fox going.
It opened.
We should get back to the Flore warehouse then.
Hey, wait. Did you guys hear something?
What?
You didn't hear it? It came from over there. It sounded like something turning on. See? I told you. This screen wasn't on before.
You're right. Guess it was set to turn on when we opened the door.
It looks like an authentication screen. I think we need to put in an ID and a password.
Yeah, but what?
That was when I noticed the illustration. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is
There are
eating
lines
the
on
sun.
the floor.
Lion is eating the sun. Remember death. If the ninth lion ate the sun. Oh, of course. This was the real ninth lion. But if that was the case...
So, there's one thing you haven't used yet. Well, two things technically. Oh, it's been a hot minute. He might not remember. I don't think it's in here. No. It's the information you obtained in Quark's ending.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh my god.
Don't mind us. We're just waiting while.
Why does my
Figure
screenshot
pulls up
thing
his,
only show... it defaults to most recent, and it's like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to pull it up for this game.
Want me to just give it to you? Because you technically already know it at this point.
Nah.
No, let him look it up. Let him cook.
Alright. Just don't burn the rice.
I was looking for, let's see. I mean, I've got a password.
Come on. So what is the password?
Jumpy doll.
Okay, so I'm going to take a guess you didn't save the thing that was supposed to be the ID.
Take a wild guess.
Memento Mori.
No.
No.
Do
Heard this
you
character's name
remember?
before.
Do you remember what that password was on the back of?
Unfortunately, I did not save that.
It was an ID card.
Oh,
We could.
I
We
mean,
could go back to the ending and check it.
yeah, Akane, and then it was her last name. Given the number of characters I have available to work with, I'm guessing I need the last name.
Yes,
Well, just tell me. What's her last name?
it's Kurashiki.
Kurashiki.
Thank you.
Kurashiki.
I just needed a reminder. I was trying to think of it, but all I could think of was Kitsuragi, and it's like, no, that's the major from,
That's
NCT.
Jin.
Oh, maybe it's both.
Yeah, you need both.
No, I'm saying, I believe there's a character in Neon Genesis Evangelion who has that name as well.
Maybe.
Okay. Possibly. I've never seen it, so I couldn't tell you. There we go. That's the final code.
Sigma, look!
You're...
Akane. Her name is Akane Kurashiki. I've been looking for her for a very long time.
He walked toward her. Slowly, almost as if he was afraid of scaring her away, he reached out.
She's a hologram.
Tenyoshi squeezed his eyes shut.
Akane.
He closed his hand around empty air and let it fall to his side. There was a moment of sad silence, and then she began to speak.
I see you finally arrived. I've been waiting for you. Well, I suppose that's slightly inaccurate. What you see now is a holographic message I recorded before you came here. Unfortunately, this means I will not be able to answer your questions. At least not directly. I hope you will understand. Now, where to begin?
Yeah, Dragon Cat, I've had that theory running in my head for a while now.
Yeah.
You probably have a great many questions. What day is it? Where are we? Who is Zero? And what does he have to do with Akane Kurashiki? But I imagine there is one question that rises above all the others. Why were we brought here? The answer to that is simple. Everything that has happened here is part of our plan. All of this was required for the success of the AB project. I assume you heard the name by now, at least. In any event, you were all needed in order to execute our plan. The nonary game was necessary for the same reason. Your question now, I imagine, is just what is this AB project? The answer to that is also simple. Allow me to explain. We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of two people into the past. Those two people are you, Sigma, and you, Phi.
What do you mean, the past? The moment the words were out of my mouth, I realized no one there could answer the question. Not Phi, not Tenyoshi, and certainly not a pre-recorded hologram.
Have you figured out what this room is? I assume you saw the Q on the door. It stands for quantum. That makes this the quantum room.
It took me a moment to realize she'd changed subjects without even pausing. There was nothing we could do, of course, but I still felt a twinge of frustration.
Take a look at the rear of the room. Do you see that large enclosure? That houses our quantum computer. The system that control this entire facility run on that machine. That includes the construct you refer to as Zero Jr., as well as the golems. All of them do their thinking in that box. Isn't that strange, though? It seems contrary to how we perceive the world. The body, the thing that you see and interact with, is somewhere else. But the mind and all its thoughts are in this box. Perhaps it isn't so strange, though. Perhaps humans are the same, with our minds and thoughts existing separate from our bodies. Our core is in our head, of course. We all have individual brains, think individual thoughts, and act according to individual wills. That makes communication difficult, though. So, we're forced to rely on inefficient mediums, like language, photographs, non-verbal cues, etc., to transmit information. Each one of us is an individual, and we have no direct connection to anyone else.
So going back to what I said earlier, so she wants to break down the AT fields between people?
So, question.
Yeah?
At the end of the first game,
Yep.
there were 2 zeros, right?
What do you mean?
Technically
like they were out.
speaking,
Technically,
Yeah.
yes, but also no.
yeah, it was... Akane was always... If we're talking strictly speaking, the only person who's the only zero in the first game was Akane. Santa was her helper.
Yeah, and Santa was the one in the gas mask who actually who actually did the kidnapping and all that.
Yep.
But
Why do I get the feeling
is
that
that really
Santa...
true?
Why do I get the feeling that the zeros, that the other person who said they were Zero Senior was actually Santa? The one that talked about termites and shit?
Well,
Potentially.
we gotta find out.
Potentially.
In the dimensions we are most familiar with, yes, it is. If we look at things from another higher dimension, however, we may all be connected after all, like the branches of a tree or a rhizome. Imagine a horizontal cross-section of the root system of a large tree.
Hey, we did that puzzle.
We
All
did.
you can see are the spots where the roots intersect the plane of your cross-section. In the two
Actually,
dimensions
you-
you see, the roots all appear to be individual things with no connection to one another.
You actually did that puzzle in this specific route.
But this isn't the case. If you expand your view and look at the root system in 3 dimensions instead of only 2, you see the truth. All the roots join together at the trunk. In 2 dimensions, they appear to be separate. But if you look at the roots from a 3rd higher dimension, you see things that might appear to be separate from one another in 3 dimensions could be connected to one another if you look at them in 4 dimensions. Doesn't that at least seem like it could be a possibility? I believe that is how human consciousness actually works. Well, I'm not the only one, I suppose. Zero and I share that belief.
Morphogenetic field theory.
Temyoji mumbled something that sounded like nonsense. I opened my mouth to ask him what it meant, but Akane was already talking again.
Now, when I talk about a 4th dimension, I'm referring to the 4th dimension used in Minkowski space-time. Let's start
Oh my
with
God,
the
there's
single
another-
dimension, where all that exists
I
is
just
a
had another thought.
Oh?
What's up?
We've been assuming that Tenmyoji is Junpei all along. What if Tenmyoji is actually Santa instead?
Could be.
Could be.
And Zero and the other Zero Senior is Junpei.
Could be.
That could also be possible.
connect
Could be.
points to one another, and you have a line. In one dimension, the only surface you can create is that, a line. But move to 2 dimensions and create more lines, and you can create shapes. These are 2-dimensional surfaces. Move up to 3 dimensions, and you can connect these shapes to one another and form 3-dimensional objects. Now you have a 3-dimensional surface, which encompasses a volume of space. Connect 3-dimensional objects to one another, and you formed a 4-dimensional object, which encompasses a volume of both space and time. It is on that 4th dimensional axis that our minds are connected.
I mean, I suppose if you think about it in a way, that is sort of true. Also, hi, Loey.
Hello, Muffet.
Hey, Loey.
Hello.
Oh man.
But
To
yeah, go on.
to a 5th dimensional being, or someone that can perceive and interact with time, someone's death must look very much like how someone's death must look very much like how we would perceive the edge of a 3-dimensional object.
Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, I was
could
going to
say
say that, I mean, if you think about it, there's the fact that the human race is so, like, interconnected that one can probably safely assume that we're all related in some way if you go back far enough.
Yeah.
Hence, from a 4th dimensional standpoint, she is correct.
If that was true, then what would prevent anyone from sending their consciousness backward or forward in time? That theory
Not using
is
all
the
their brain?
foundation of the AB project. The A represents after, and the B represents before. It probably sounds silly to you. A ridiculous story made up by a bad old woman. But look at what's happened to you. You've seen many different worlds and timelines, haven't you, Sigma? And what about you, Phi? I know you have too. Am I wrong? Tenmyoji should know what I'm talking about as well. I believe you experienced something very similar nearly half a century ago. You sent your consciousness to the past to help save a little girl's life.
Yep, he's Junpei.
Okay. Yep.
It
Okay.
was a long time ago, but perhaps you still remember.
Yeah, of course I do. How can I forget? That little girl was you, Akane.
Suddenly, it felt like Phi and I were outsiders, trespassing on something we had no right to see. So, I'm kind of glad now that I was always like, man, Tenmyoji, you're cool. Like, there was a part of me hesitant too when the series first started, because I was like, okay, last time there was an old man that was like, you're cool, you seem like the voice of reason. He turned out to be the unhinged villain behind it all.
So, I feel like now is a good time to explain why he has that name.
Oh?
It's a very simple reason. Tenmyoji is Junpei's last name.
I see.
Yep.
Tenmyoji's face was taut with emotion as he looked into Akane's eyes. It seemed almost like she was looking back at him.
Now, unfortunately, my time is up. The final stage of the project will begin very soon. I need to go prepare. The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting. One last thing. The cat in the box. Is it alive or is it dead? Sigma? Phi? You will decide its fate. Goodbye.
Wait! Akane, wait!
Oh, Tenmyoji, I can almost see you. You don't need to worry. Everything is going to be okay. I will see you again
Wait. Akane!
And then she was gone.
I like to imagine that after this scene, Tenmyoji's at the bar in the lounge with Sigma. Tenmyoji being drunk and going, Sigma, I've been searching for Akane ever since she blue-balled me on D-Deck. Sigma's like, what? And then Tenmyoji goes, I thought she was worried about getting wet due to the shaft. I wasn't, of course. But then the vacuum had to go and cock block me, trying to find her ever since so we could go down to D-Deck again.
That, as drunken stories tend to go, he goes, hey pal, ever tell you about glycerin?
Ever tell you about nitroglycerin when I was stuck in a freezer on a
Not
ship that was
nitroglycerin, just normal
sinking?
glycerin.
Okay.
I saw tears land on the white-knuckled fists he pressed against his thighs. I kept quiet. What was there to say? Fa and I looked at one another and nodded silently. With a shaking hand, Tenmyoji pulled a photograph out of his pocket. It was a picture of a girl. After all that we'd been through, her smile was enough to break your heart. We made our way to the warehouse on floor A and met up with the others. It took only a few minutes to decide to head to the infirmary. As soon as we arrived, we began to treat Alice and Quark for Radical 6. I gave Luna the Accelavir that I'd found in the queue room. She quickly prepared it and... injected Alice and Quark.
Thank goodness. It will take some time for them to recover completely, but they should be fine. Good.
Indeed.
Thank you, Luna. And thanks for finding the medicine, you guys. Thank you so much.
All a day's work.
Don't
No need to
sweat it.
thank us.
Tenmyoji said nothing, just walked over to Quark's unconscious body. He took the small boy's hand in his own and held it tight. I could see tears at the corner of his eyes as he turned away from us. Suddenly, I remembered Dio. Where had he gone? It didn't take me long to find him. He was sprawled, unconscious, on the floor beneath the sink.
How's he feeling?
I mean, he's not gonna die there because there's no more chromatic doors. However,
Oh, but
handcuffs.
Oh, we found those in the crew quarters. Before you returned, we went to check on the bomb in room 2, and we found them there. Of course, the bomb was indeed turned off. Thank you again for dealing with them. You are quite
no problem,
literally
Kate.
lifesavers. You have my eternal gratitude.
You know, this is making me wonder: should Sigma sound like K?
I don't know.
Hey, Shad. Yeah, I stream this on Sundays, not Saturdays. I coughed awkwardly and looked pointedly around the room. I glanced over at Fi to see she was doing the same thing. After that, we headed back to the Floor A warehouse to play the A-B game. Specifically, me, Fi, Kay, and Luna. Clover and Tenmyoji decided to remain in the infirmary, just in case something happened with Alice, Quark, or Dio. Luna would represent Clover's team. With Quark and Dio sleeping, Kay would represent their team by default. It was of me, Fi, and Tenmyoji. You should vote.
No, I'll let you handle it. I chose Betray in the last round. You probably don't trust me right now.
What? It doesn't matter now.
Excuse me. I apologize for interrupting, but I think you should be the one to vote in the next round fight.
Why?
You already have 9 BP.
You should be the one to vote in the next round. That way, we only have the one route that we go on, and this doesn't have another branch on the flowchart.
There's no reason for you to choose betray now. You see?
Hey, you're acting like I might actually try and betray her.
Not necessarily.
What does it matter what he's suggesting? We're almost there. We just have to play the A-B game 3 more times. Then we can all get 9 points. But that means each representative has to choose ally all 3 times.
We could have solved this easier if we all did this from the beginning, you guys!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll vote. You sure you're alright with this, Sigma?
Yeah. I trust you. I had it.
I mean, after all we've been through.
Shall we open the doors?
I trust you. After all, if you fuck me over, I will just come back and kick your ass at the other timeline.
An
Yep.
ambidex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling
Well,
closes.
no, I told
right.
a lie. Sigma can't kick anyone's ass.
This is
I
true.
know. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna get some ice cream because ever since last night, my tummy's kind of been wishy-washy.
Yeah, I could be in a one-on-one fight with Luna and I would lose.
Yeah.
Oh,
You could
right.
be on
We
a
have to wait for the
one-on-one fight
deadline.
with a puppy dog.
I could be in a one-on-one
That
fight
still
with,
has its
with a
eye
pack of
closed.
chewing gum.
Don't remind me. I had a sleep study done this week. They stick a bunch of wires on you using stuff that looks remarkably like chewing gum.
Yep, I've had those before.
Well, we could vote earlier, but then each voter would be stuck inside the AB room for 45 minutes.
Okay, let's go back to the infirmary then.
I agree. Please, lead the way.
After all, we always have to leave this until the last minute. Luna and Kay set off toward the yellow door. I was about to follow when...
Hold on. I just remembered something. The
What?
AB room on the left, in one of the other histories, she...
Oh, yeah. You're right. Akane's body was in there. What does this mean? Why didn't we find her body this time?
Maybe because she wasn't murdered.
But how? When did history change?
Do you remember what Akane said?
The cat in the box. Is it alive or is it dead, Sigma? Fine. You will decide its fate.
The Schrodinger's cat thing.
Exactly.
I wonder what she meant about us deciding its fate.
Perhaps she was saying her own fate wasn't decided yet.
Huh?
The history where she's alive and the history where she's murdered are both real right now.
What? No, that's impossible. We've already opened the box. We opened the door to this AV room and there was no body.
No, we haven't opened the box. We haven't found a body. But we haven't found her alive yet either. In other words, we haven't actually observed her. The hologram was a recording from before this game started.
The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting.
Where was Akane now? Where was she waiting for us? Or what if she wasn't anywhere now? What if she was waiting for us in another timeline? What if she was waiting for us in the past? Was that even possible? I mean, no matter where you think about it, wherever she's waiting, like, in this given timeline, her body has to be somewhere. If she was, what would that mean? What?
What?
A new destination has been added.
Oh, looky here.
They didn't see it.
Oh, I did
You
see
scroll over.
it. I did see it.
Yep.
I just wanted to double check that there wasn't anything else. AV room. The past. Ow. Damn it! Feels like my head's going to explode. Wait. Where the hell am I? Looks like an elevator, but...
No, this is one of the AB rooms.
Who the hell are you? And what the hell's an AB room?
Damn, I guess you did lose your memory after all.
Memory? Memory?
All the endings.
I remember! You're fine! Cigarette. When is this?
Check your bracelet.
It's a red pear. BP is 3.
Mine's the same.
Does this mean this is the beginning of the game? We've gone back to when we first woke up in the AB room?
No, not quite. I think we woke up a little earlier this time.
How do you know?
Push the buttons on the side of your bracelet.
2 hours, 15 minutes.
We didn't wake up this long before the primary doors opened last time. I think we're about an hour early.
Wait a minute. If you're right,
Yeah, Akane might still be alive. We got back before Dio killed her. I think.
then...
Right. We're here for one reason.
To stop her from getting killed.
Exactly.
So, the ultimate scene of this, of the second game is once again saving Akane, who masterminded the entire thing.
Okay, but this time... this time she got herself killed on purpose. Which complicates things a little.
Just a little.
Let's move. We need to get out of here fast.
Don't need to tell me twice. Let's go.
Final.
Seek away! I
escape
don't have to do another puzzle room! Yes!
Okay.
Well,
We've gone full circle.
About that.
We don't need to look there.
I
It's our
said
password,
what I
remember?
meant.
Oh.
Oh, wait. We don't need to look there. This is our past, remember? That means we're just repeating history. You see what I'm getting at?
Password for the safe should be the same
Password
one.
for the
oh.
sa- oh,
Yeah, that's me.
sorry.
Password for the safe should be the same one we got earlier.
Exactly.
Oh. Right. All the puzzles in the room are just to get the safe password.
Yep.
Now hurry up and open it.
I was thinking I would just blitz through the puzzle because I remembered, what the fuck's the safe? There it is.
Nope.
Wait.
You don't even need to do any of it.
You need to remember the password for the safe. We figured it out last time.
Okay, here's a question. What happens if you put in the secret password?
I'm actually curious.
And on that
Elevator.
note, should we
Elevator.
look
Oh,
at
right.
the secret files now?
Let's see.
Not yet.
Star.
Not quite yet. Very soon. You probably could read them now, but for the sake of story progression and flow, you should.
Okay, I opened it.
No, that's the wrong password. We need the other one to get the key.
Well, that answered my question.
Slight bit of funny
Okay.
dialogue. I
Sun, moon,
approve.
moon. There, it's open.
Good work. Hurry up and grab the cracker.
Tracker?
Ah! Damn, I meant key.
How the hell?
Just shut up and do it.
This is the key from the safe. You can unlock the door by the buttons on the control panel. Alright, let's just put this key in here.
For God's sake, just do it already!
No need to yell. Alright.
Good.
Now, I'm gonna turn the key in 10 seconds.
Looks like that worked.
Ready, Fi?
What do you think?
I know. I don't need to ask every time, right?
Then why the hell are you asking? Hurry up and...
Right. I'm going. 10.
Morphogenetic field, bitches!
I was just
Strike
saying
again.
as a joke. 8.
1. Done.
The perfect cap for all of these escape room sequences.
Hey!
Yep.
You pushed the button.
Bite me. You are taking too long. We're on a schedule here.
You found it. And I present you the best seat in this game.
Fine, I climbed up through the hatch and out onto the roof of the onto the top of the AB room. It took us only a moment to spot them. Man, we're getting out with seconds to spare. It's a good thing Fi did rush me. Akane!
I know, right?
Behind her was Dio. He was moving quickly and quietly, a knife glinting in his right hand. Shit! There was no time to yell to her. I scrambled down from the top of the AB room. Fi wasn't following me. When I looked back, she was still standing on the roof. Fi! What the hell are you doing? Get down here and... Before I could finish, she moved. She ran across the roof, launched herself into the air.
Super kicker!
Yeah!
Dive kick!
Dive kick!
What the...
He's fine, just unconscious.
I bent down and held my fingers in front of his mouth. He was still breathing.
I don't think he saw me. He probably has no idea what happened to him.
Guy went down like a sack of potatoes. I used that exact phrase years ago when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 356 over 8 days.
I hate that title so much.
356 over 2 days, you mean?
Yes. Why did I say 8?
He had it coming.
I don't know.
It's actually 558 over 2.
358.
Oh.
That would be why. I knew there was an 8 in there somewhere. I heard footsteps come to a stop right in front of us. I looked up.
So you came. I've been waiting for you. You're here to hear the rest, right?
Wait. Just wait a minute. What the hell is your deal? How can you be so calm? If we hadn't shown up just now, you'd...
Have been stabbed in the heart by this young man and died. Yes. Although, that reminds me, I haven't thanked you yet. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate you saving me.
That... What?
Hold on. How do you know about being stabbed by Dio? Are you an Esper too?
Yes, indeed I am. I am able to jump through time, just like you.
She is quite literally the girl who leapt through time.
Then what the hell were you thinking? If you knew he was going to stab you, why were you going to let him do it?
Because I had to.
You what?
Think back. Why are you here? If I hadn't been killed by Dio, no one else would have been murdered. Consequently, your own abilities would never have manifested. I did explain, didn't I? The purpose of the AB project was to send the two of you to the past. Or your minds, at least. In order for that to happen, some death was necessary. When a human brain is faced with danger, its processing speed increases. Information is processed more quickly, and time almost seems to slow. A few seconds can feel like an eternity.
Wait a second. Was Radical 6 just a bunch of people waking up to becoming espers?
Unfortunately, that in itself isn't enough to send oneself through time. The amplitude of the consciousness is simply too small. In order to increase the amplitude, we need to slow down the brain before the increase happens. It's a little like a slingshot. You pull back on the rubber band and then let go. The potential energy you stored in the band is released and converted into kinetic energy. That's what fires the bullet out of the slingshot. Now, while a slingshot can only fire in one direction, your mind isn't similarly limited. When the bullet of your consciousness is fired from the slingshot of your brain, it travels past the three-dimensional world and into the four-dimensional one. From that perspective, time is no longer fixed. In other words, you can travel to the future, the past, whenever you like. Your consciousness has been released from the three-dimensional cage. In order for that to happen, I had to infect you with Radical 6.
Well, what?
We're infected with Radical 6?
Yes. Don't you remember, Sigma? Luna should have told you about it in another timeline.
Are you sure? Infecting all of these people with such a horrible disease?
Every single one of you has been infected. Well, apart from Luna, of course. Unfortunately, it was necessary. We needed to slow your minds in order to store up your potential energy. Then we
You know, you
provided
could
a
have done
dire
this
situation that would accelerate your processing speed.
Alright, never mind.
The result is what you are now experiencing. Your consciousness now occupies four-dimensional space-time. Even that, however, wasn't enough. You had the ability to travel, but your memories could easily be lost during the trip. If the project was to succeed, you had to be able to retain everything you learned in each reality.
I mean, this is still holding up fine.
Yep.
That was the reason you were forced to jump so many times.
I wonder if
With
they got rid
each
of that
jump,
mechanic for
your
this
ability
sport.
to remember improved. Eventually, you would be able to retain everything. That is why we made you play the AB game. That was why you had to select different chromatic doors. By forcing specific choices, we could cause you to make more jumps.
I get it. I think I finally understand. You're batshit insane!
Is it a Metal Gear Rising reference?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank God I got that.
Well, okay. There are a lot of things I don't understand, but all of what you just told me makes sense. You did
Jesus.
all of this so that Fi and I could jump through four-dimensional space with our memories intact. Right?
Yes.
But why did you need us to do that? People have died for this. I mean, let's count how many different ways people died. Murder, antimatter explosion, suicide. I've died. So has Phi. So have you. So why would you do all of this? It doesn't matter that Phi and I jumped through time.
Haven't I told you? Death was unavoidable. You are all destined to die. Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
I already know all that. What I'm asking you is why? What is so goddamn important that it's worth all this?
Ah. I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually.
What? Just when is eventually?
In a future not very far from now.
Bullshit! That's not good enough. Why can't you tell us now? Instead of answering, Connie knelt down next to Dio and picked his knife up off the floor.
I'm going to keep this with me.
Don't change the subject!
But it's almost time.
What are you talking about? We've got plenty of time.
No, in a few moments, you'll return to the original timeline.
What?
This is the way it has to be. Don't fight it. Logomorph.
Yes.
Logomorph?
You call him Zero Jr. His official designation is Logomorph.
Which just is the scientific name for Bunny.
Unlock my bracelet.
Compliance.
Now, everything is in place. I have put the bracelet onto Dio. All we have to do is place his body in the 5th AB room, the second one from the right.
That's the one Quark is in, right?
Correct. I will move him. I will also put your bodies back into the 3rd AB room. Once that's done, I will reset its puzzle to an unsolved state.
Why do you need to do all that?
To recreate the history that you remember. Your consciousness is about to leave your body and return to the future. Your body will be emptied, and your other consciousness will jump back in. If your bodies aren't back in the 3rd AB room by then, it would be bad.
So you're saying some version of us is going to wake up in that room and repeat the same history again? Well, I guess this could actually be our 2nd or 3rd time.
You are exactly correct. Lastly, I'm going to leave this with you.
She paused and pulled something out of her pocket. It was a small key attached to a string.
I'll tie it onto your ankle so that you won't lose it. All right, Sigma?
Why on your ankle, though?
What's it say on there? Probably so I wouldn't notice it somehow. I mean, me, the person playing the game, I would notice if something was tied to my ankle, but I could see how someone who's less perceptive wouldn't.
Tu fui ego eris.
It's Latin. It means, what you are, I was. What I am, you will be.
Where have we seen that before?
What am I supposed to do with it?
It will help you meet someone who's very important.
What?
Go. Return to the future. You won't be alone.
We gotta head back to the
at your
future.
side, watching over you. Now hurry.
So, is anybody else getting Everything Everywhere All at Once vibes?
I don't know. I have never seen that movie.
Me neither.
You should. It is good.
It's a really good movie.
I have heard that it is very good.
Same here.
Also, pretty funny at times. Wait, I still...
A new destination has been added.
Yep, figured it'd be there. Just to see how it ties up. Ah, it's disconnected from the two.
Yep.
These two are disconnected as well.
Let us begin.
Several cutscenes will play in sequence.
Oh, looks like you're awake.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Oh.
Is this
Well,
the
we
infirmary?
made that same joke at the beginning of Attorney of the Arcane. Come on.
Why are we here?
Do you know what happened at the AB gate?
Kay and I went back to the infirmary, but
We waited and waited, and the two of you never returned.
so we went to the warehouse to check on you.
We found you
I'm
passed
hearing
out in
dog
front of the AB
whining.
rooms.
Yes,
Kay and I
Saki
hurried
is
back here
whining.
with you.
Ah,
Ah, yep, figured.
yeah, Shad, you're not wrong. Because last time, I mean, it sort of had time ability in there, but not really. It was sort of like simultaneous time thing in a way.
Before it required
Yeah.
2 people. This time it required you can just do it by yourself.
Yeah.
It does loosely explain this at a later date, but we'll wait for that,
Yeah.
for when we get to that.
I looked over at Fi and met her eyes. Do you remember what happened just now?
You mean what happened a long time ago?
Yeah. You got him pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I remember all right.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
Quark!
What am I? Chopped liver?
Alice!
Back among the conscious and not psychotic, huh?
Yeah, thanks. Grandpa told me what you did. Thanks for finding the medicine for us.
No problem. All in a day's work.
Except,
Although-
everyone else is also infected, so.
Yeah, but I mean, there's the possibility that we're simply not experiencing the worst effects.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait,
I wouldn't say that's true because Clover's ending proves that things can still go very wrong.
where's the
We're at the end of the
Nerevarine?
games. We're at the end of the games, we can just assume that it's supposed to get fixed there.
Oh, come on, nothing?
What?
I said we're the Nerevarine.
Huh?
I don't
It's a
understand.
reference to, in Morrowind, you get infected with a really bad disease, but I
I
forget exactly what happens, but you basically don't cure it, but you contain it.
Yeah, it's,
or,
what was that?
I'm pretty sure out of the 5 of us, unless Taze is an exception, you're the only one who plays Elder Scrolls.
Damn!
I mean, I've played Morrowind and Oblivion, but not a whole lot of Skyrim.
Well, I'll just say that, I don't necessarily say the later games are like something everyone should play, but Morrowind is a masterclass in storytelling. Anyway.
But when I hear it's not a masterclass in gameplay.
That depends, but that's the topic we can get into another time.
Anyway,
All I will say is, do not choose the Sign of the Atronach, and make sure you have at least one weapon skill
3!
as a major skill in the in character creation.
That is 3 times we have looped back to the conversation after we said we'd move away.
Yes. Anyway. Although, I wouldn't mind a little swimsuit action.
Really grabbing at straws here, aren't you?
Yes, Shad, it is sort of cosmic horror a little bit. Hey, I wasn't talking to Quark. That was an offer for Alice.
Not really my point.
Whatever. Forget about that. Now that you guys are awake, all we gotta do is open the number 9 door.
Huh?
What are you talking about?
Look at your bracelet.
It says 10. I have 10 BP.
I've got
Oh, that-
15 BP?
Hey, Zed.
That means I got 6 more points while I was out.
But how?
You've been asleep for more than 2 hours. We've played the AB game 3 times.
3 times?
Yes. Of course, the color and group assignments were shuffled around each time, but no matter who voted, everyone chose Ally. And now all of us have enough to leave.
You know, it would be really fucked up if somehow Sigma, Phi, and Dio were on the same team.
I was literally just thinking.
Yeah.
We'd be so fucked.
I was stunned. How had everyone cooperated long enough to raise all of our BP past 9? Well, I think if that did happen, everyone else would just wait until we woke up.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we get the reassignments after the last AB
Oh yeah, that's a
game.
good point.
We can always just decide not to play the AB game if it's going to kill someone. Was it because Akane hadn't been killed? Without a death to start things off, maybe we'd been less suspicious of one another. Or could the bombs have had something to do with it? We'd all joined forces against Dio, and Phi and I had been able to disarm all of them. All of us had banded together against a common enemy and overcome a tremendous threat. Perhaps that had strengthened our bond.
Well, I mean, remember what Luna said in Sigma's route, that what if we had a common foe?
Yeah, true. Also, Shad, you're saying that Alice is wearing much better than a swimsuit. Clover is also wearing basically a swimsuit. After all, Dio had planned the bombs that forced us all to work together against him. This must have been what Akane was talking about.
Haven't I told you? Death was unavoidable. Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
Come on, let's go! Let's open the door and get out of here!
Wait. But what about him?
What about him?
Welcome.
know, right?
Yes! After some discussion, we decided to leave Dio behind. Alice was the only holdout. She complained about wanting to take him back to her superiors, but after I mentioned they'd come back to investigate after we escaped and deal with Dio then, she reluctantly complied.
All right, let's get going.
You know, if we don't uncuff him at the very least, help has got to arrive within 3 days or he's dead.
Who cares?
True.
Just leave us some water and food next to him. Maybe a chamber pot if you want to be super generous.
I'm not generous.
Nah, fuck him. He doesn't get the chamber pot.
Everybody ready? I'm gonna open it.
Yes, just get on with it.
Get on with it!
Everyone is exasperated.
Yes, get on with it!
Everyone's sick of Sigma's bullshit.
Everyone else swallowed and nodded. Okay, starting a 16-second countdown. I grabbed a lever and pulled it down.
We don't have a dancer in the party. Actually, wait, no, Alice would probably be a dancer.
Yeah, we got Alice.
I was gonna say Clover, but that works too.
No. Clover's identity was a waitress, I think.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
All right, everybody, let's move. I didn't need to tell them twice. The room inside was clearly a loading elevator. It looked sort of like a large plate on top of a huge pedestal. I ran to the center of the plate and turned around. The number 9 door stood wide open.
2, 1, 0. The number 9 door is closing. The number 9 door has closed. This ends the nonary game. Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked.
Is it time for love in an elevator? Oh wait, never mind. She's doing.
Here's my other question.
What's up?
You're a bit quiet.
What about that key?
True.
We'll find out eventually. Be patient, my guy.
Also, who has...
I want it
Speaking
now.
of keys, who has the key to Kay's head in this timeline? Does Dio still have it in this timeline?
We don't know. We're gonna have to find out eventually.
I'm sure they robbed Dio of everything by this point.
Looks like we did it.
Yeah.
Yes, we should keep moving.
Took his social security, took all of his weapons, probably took his undies.
Beyond the door was a wide hallway that ended in a very solid wall. To the left, we found a very familiar looking door. We pushed it open and went in.
It's the other side of the PC.
It's the PAX.
The pack.
The pressure exchange chamber.
You know what this place is?
Yeah, sort of. This whole facility is pressurized, apparently. I think the idea is to keep the air outside, and consequently the virus, from getting inside. That means if we want to go out, we have to decompress so we match the outside air pressure. The room here is where you prepare for going into the actual pressure exchange room.
So, here's a question.
Yeah?
I've probably asked this when we were in the pack, but what happens if you go outside and the air pressure isn't, like, thick? Like, you haven't been customized to the air pressure. Do you just fucking explode?
I don't think that's the case in this case. I think there's only one depressurized area, and that is within the airlock, to cycle the air and keep it from getting through.
I mean, in general, in real life.
If you do not depressurize when going out to space, I believe the answer is that you implode.
Oh, God,
No,
that's
you
even worse.
explode. Your pressure inside.
Okay.
Like, it's a vacuum out there. It has no pressure.
No, you don't explode. That is a myth.
Yeah, you just
Oh!
Well, it's not a pleasant experience in any case.
Like, I'm pretty sure everything just begins to immediately shut down in your body and you just freeze to death instantly.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of oxygen is the bigger problem.
I mean, you wouldn't even have time to get that far, I think.
Anyway. See all those suits along the wall? I figure we need to put those on and head to the decompression room downstairs.
Whoa! Hold on a minute. You're saying the air outside is full of that horrible virus?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Of course, according to Akane, we were all already infected with Radical 6, so the whole room seemed a little pointless.
Why? How did all this happen?
Did they?
No, that's not possible.
We've come this far. We can't turn back now. Let's go outside. There's no way to know what's really going on until we do.
I mean, I feel like an easy way to defuse this whole situation would tell them we're all already infected, so...
All right.
Gotta wait.
No one else objected. We all donned the protective suits and headed downstairs to the decompression room. As soon as we were all inside, the process began. Through my helmet, I could hear the soft hiss of air being sucked out of the room. We stood there for several minutes, waiting for the process to finish. At last it did, and we heard the door begin to open. Dragon Cat, yeah, that's probably accurate, going from a higher pressure to lower pressure environment. Beyond, it was another decompression chamber. We repeated the process 2 more times before we reached the final door and opened it. The dead, bleak landscape wasn't a surprise for me. I'd seen it before in another timeline.
That you did?
The others hadn't, however, and although I couldn't see their faces through the visor of the helmets, I heard more than a few gasps over the radio. For a few long moments, we just stood there, astonished.
Where the hell are we?
The desert, I guess?
I figured that
On a
out.
horse with no
I
name?
mean, which one?
If I had to guess, we're probably in Nevada.
I don't know, but I think I know what day it is.
Hmm?
Look at the moon. It's red, right? That means today's the total lunar eclipse.
So?
Remember the astronomy magazine in the lounge? Well, the next eclipse like this was gonna be on December 31st, 2028. So...
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Are you suggesting we were sleeping for a week after we were abducted?
Now time for Temyoji to say, hey, 2028 was a while ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
Wherever we were must have been far away from any city. The air was clearer than I'd ever seen it. And the stars. The sky was full of them. More stars than I'd ever seen in my life. And I could even spot the hazy arm of the Milky Way. The most striking feature was the moon. It was blood red and massive. Much bigger, in fact, than I remembered it being. Then, as I watched, a black spot began to move across its surface. It was hard to see details, but it looked circular. The spot continued to move across the moon, heading for the right edge. What's that?
The moon. Well, the moon's shadow, actually.
The moon's shadow? I frowned. It didn't make any sense. We're on the moon, looking at the sun. Didn't I call this way back when we first, saw the, vision of the facility exploding when we were, first told about the bombs?
Yeah.
You said something like that. I'm not saying you're right, though. But you said something like that.
Zero told me to stay quiet. I think he was worried I'd spill the beans on his operation. He said if I didn't toe the line, he wouldn't just kill me. He'd kill Quark, too. And I agreed, like an idiot. And brought Quark with me. Just so I could see her. Such an idiot. So, that being the case, might as well start with this. I meant what I said before. That up there is the moon's shadow.
What the hell are you saying?
Think about it. If that's the moon's shadow, then what's it falling on?
That's Earth?
Yeah. It's not the red moon you get from a lunar eclipse. And again, this isn't a lunar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. Anybody in the black spot down there is looking up at the moon, covering the sun.
What? No way. If that's the Earth, then where the hell are we?
The moon, of course. This is the lunar surface. We were just inside a moon base. No way. No, you've got to be lying.
Wouldn't we have noticed the gravity?
Well, our
Very
brains were
careful.
slowed down because of Radical 6, so we might have not have noticed.
We had other shit going on.
How do you expect
Yeah,
us to
that's
believe that? This can't be the moon.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Besides, if this was the moon, how do you explain the gravity? The moon only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So what's this?
She picked up a rock and dropped it.
See, that looked perfectly normal.
Yes, it looked that way.
Luna?
You were right about the gravity in a way. I was one of the people who knew this wasn't Earth. Well, I suppose I'm not people, if we're being honest, but
No, you're
Excuse me?
people.
What?
please just listen. Alice, you were infected with Radical 6. Then we gave you the Excelivir, which cured you. The Radical 6 isn't completely gone, though. Some of its symptoms stick around for a while.
What symptoms?
Well,
long
Radical
6.
6 can slow down your brain's processing speed by the root of 1/6. It can take a while for your brain to get back up to speed. Every one of us has been infected. In other words, all of our brains have been processing information at a much lower speed. If you evaluated the root of 1/6, you'll get a number close to 0.408. That means our brains are running at something slightly less than half speed. As you said before, the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's. The time that it takes for an object to fall is inversely proportional to the square root of the gravitational acceleration. Since the gravity is lower on the moon, that means the time increases. I guess that's a little technical. Let me give you an example. Say you drop an apple from a height of 4.9 meters. It will take approximately 1 second to hit the ground. On the moon, however, that time would be 1 second times root 6, which would be approximately 2.45 seconds. I used 4.9 meters because it matches up with the acceleration of gravity nicely, but it could be anything. The gravity constant is, well, a constant. You could drop something from 10 centimeters or 10 meters and it would be the same. Does that make sense? So now we've established that on the moon, things fall 6 times slower than they do on Earth. That being the case, what would happen if someone's brain slowed down by root 1/6? To them, 2.45 seconds would feel like 1 second. 4.9 seconds would feel like 2.
So does that mean we've been interpreting everyone moving at root 6 times faster?
Well, think about it.
Oh my god. Could you imagine if this was being broadcasted like it was in Danganronpa? Everyone would be talking like they were slowed down.
Yeah.
Everyone would be talking like they were drunk as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet it was funny as shit.
Now part of me wants to see, like, okay. Here's how the events of the game actually looked like to an outside observer.
Do you really want that? Because think about it. That would mean that all of the fucking transition sequences would be 6 times as long.
Oh no, he's
It would be
right.
funny.
Oh no.
Well, also keep in mind we would only be going through one route. The route that leads to the golden end.
Wait, you're saying that's the reason we didn't notice the weaker gravity? Are you sure you didn't notice anything? Think back. Huh? You and Sigma and Phi said something about it in the lounge.
That explains Phi's mad hops!
Yep.
About how
Yep.
you felt weird?
It's kind of like my body isn't really mine. I'm sort of floating. Like that?
This explains why she got that kick-ass dive kick on Neo.
It seemed insane, but what Luna said made sense.
It also explains why Sigma is such a wuss. He is not used to fighting in lunar gravity.
Well, okay, but also nobody
Nope.
else should be. Wait, Dio would be. Kay would be.
Mm-hmm.
The two best
And
fighters
the
are
other
used to-
times, we all just got gained up on.
Usually including either Dio or Kay.
Also, something that's interesting. If we're on the moon, what does that make Zero Jr.?
A moon bunny.
Moon
A
bunny.
moon rabbit! Ah, I love him even more now.
He is he is best boy for many reasons.
Alright. In fact, it explained Phi's apparently superhuman strength quite well.
Wait, this is crazy.
One thing
That
I
can't possibly be Earth out there. Look at
one
it.
thing I
I've seen photos of Earth, and it's blue and green and beautiful.
one thing I really like is that the idea is like, oh yeah, Phi does this and she has no clue that she has moon gravity. She just thinks that she's just sick like that.
Yeah.
That thing is just red.
Before we get into that, I should probably tell you something. This isn't New Year's Eve in 2028. Today is January 27th.
In 29.
No.
Don't tell me. 30?
Still no.
Then just what year is this?
It's 74. 2074.
Holy shit, that would be in 50 years, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Akane did say that it was 50 years ago that the events of first game took place. No.
Everyone, I am looking forward to the. I am looking forward to the posts on Reddit in about 50 years, talking about talking about Radical 6.
I mean, we already had the fucking Titanic replica last year.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
That would mean we were abducted more than 45 years ago.
I don't blame you if you don't believe me, but it's the truth.
How can you be sure?
It's not that hard. Quark and I left Earth on January 23rd, 2074. Solar eclipses are easy to predict. We've known that there'd be one on the 27th for a long time. It's just science. Nobody can change that.
Like, why is the Earth red?
That's a long story. About 45 years ago, on April 13th, 2029, there were 18 annihilation reactors operating in various parts of the world. On the 13th, all 18 of them went up, all at the same time. The explosion was about 180,000 times as powerful as the atom bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
What? Why?
I suppose it started a few months before that. The government had a test site for a future Mars mission out in the middle of Nevada. On December 31st, 2028, there was an accident. Well, accident doesn't quite convey the right sense of the thing.
Why do you keep putting your experimental test sites in Nevada?
And the point is, Radical 6...
Because there's nothing in Nevada?
...that escaped. Didn't take long for it to
It's
spread
probably
to
the
rest of
safest
world.
place.
They could put it in Utah.
That means we have to go to Utah.
Yeah, exactly. Nevada has Las Vegas and BLFC.
Las Vegas sucks.
You could put it in Montana.
Like Luna explained.
No, Montana has Hana
Wyoming.
Montana.
Down. But eventually, it also makes you kill yourself. Pretty soon, the bodies started to pile up. Some people would take a dive off a building or shoot themselves in the head. You know, the classics. But for some, it was poison or fire or asphyxiation or the noose. Plenty of people jumped in front of trains or cars. One pilot on a passenger airline drove his plane into the ground. Most forms of transportation ground to a halt pretty fast. That meant food couldn't get distributed, and thousands of people who weren't even infected died from starvation. Everywhere you went, there were just piles of corpses, covered in flies and rats and crows. I don't know what hell's like, but I imagine it's a lot like that.
Okay, but there's flies and rats and crows. Nature is healing.
Only because they're like immune to
After
Radical
a
6
while,
and shit.
people who managed to avoid getting infected started trying to get in touch with one another. They got a hold of some radios and organized a couple meetings. There was only one thing to discuss, of course. How could they get rid of Radical 6? The answer, they decided, was purification. They figured they could just roast the surface of the Earth, and that'd kill the virus off for good. On April 13th in 2029, they put their plan into effect. That plan was to detonate all 18 annihilation reactors. Now the truth is, that's mostly just rumor. Nobody really knows what happened, but I've got my own theories. I think that the bombers had already been infected, and when they died, they took billions with them. The ultimate if I die, you're coming with me gesture, I suppose. I bet you money they'd all lost it long before they got to the reactors. Killing most of the world, no matter how bad things had gotten, was not a sane plan, even if it wasn't directly responsible. Radical 6 killed most of the people on Earth.
Shad, I can't wait until then, too.
Anyway, why it happened isn't that important. Point is, it happened. Ever heard of nuclear winter? Well, that's basically what we got. The explosion threw a ton of crap up into the stratosphere, where it joined up with smoke and ash from all the fires, and blotted out the sun for 7 years. Plants withered, and animals died by the millions. The few humans who
But
were
hey.
left banded together to survive.
But hey, it probably fixed climate change, so go Team Humanity.
You blew up the Earth. I think
Rough times.
climate is fucked.
Eventually, they were
bright side, silver linings.
Plants started blooming again.
I mean,
Animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear.
Hey.
I mean, I've always considered myself an optimist and trying to find silver linings.
Look, the plants are
You know what-
blooming
you know
again.
what just occurred
The
to me?
animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear. That sounds positive.
Something that just occurred to me.
Back to normal, though.
What?
During this period in Tokyo, a small group of scientists gathered in a lab to devise a cure for this plague. And long story short, it's a plot of changed.
Oh. Yeah, I had no idea where you were going with that until you mentioned that. It's been ages since I played around with that.
It's been 45 years now, but there's still
Oh,
quite a bit of
oh,
dust to
yes, I get it.
That's what you're seeing. You know why a sunset's red? Well, this is the same thing. Blue and green light have short wavelengths, and they scatter when they run into debris in the air. Red light, on the other hand, has a longer wavelength, which means it'll get a lot farther when the air's dirty. So there you are. The Earth looks red because that's the only color of light that can make it through the atmosphere.
Hey, Roxas, do you know why the sun sets red?
No. I was speechless. What could I possibly say? There was no reason for Tenyoji to lie to us. So we were standing on the moon, looking at the Earth. It was 2074. But why? Why were we there? Why were we then?
Why not go back?
I mean, I think that's where this is leading to. I was so lost in thought, I barely noticed Fi's approach.
Hey, Sigma. I think I figured something out.
A window popped up on the inside of my helmet with Whisper in the corner. She seemed to be using a circuit only we could hear. Yeah? What is it?
I figured out why there's an extra E.
An extra E? Oh, you mean the graffiti?
Yeah, the one on floor B. I think it's an anagram, just like on floor A.
You remember this?
Yes, I do. What's Anna say this time?
God damn it, Sigma! Knock it off!
Oh.
Memento mori if the ninth lion ate the sun. If you rearrange the letters, you get the man on the moon rules the infinite time. See?
We needed that
Six
extra
E's to
E.
get that. So they stuck an extra one in ninth.
The man on the moon rules the infinite time.
I think it's a message for us from Zero Senior and Akane. Remember what she was telling us?
We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of two people into the past. Those two people are you, Sigma, and you, Vi.
So, what are you getting at?
My God, you're slow. You don't get it? They're saying we rule the infinite time. Infinite time. They weren't just talking about having us jump a couple hours. I think they're planning to send us back. Way back.
You mean to the Internet Archive?
We're going through the Wayback Machine, fellas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you think they're going to send us back 45 years?
Yeah. I'd bet on it.
So the ultimate goal of the AB project is to send us back in time to that catastrophe Tenyoji was talking about?
I think so.
That doesn't make sense, though. I mean, we came from that same time period. Before it, actually. So why bring us here and then send us back?
Well, Akane should be able to tell us the rest. Let's go pay her a visit.
Do you know where she is?
I've got an idea. Come on, think. Remember what she said when she gave you the key?
Tu fui ego eris.
The grave! The one in the garden!
Well, come on, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
We turned and ran back to the pressure exchange chamber, the others following close behind.
What are you doing? Did you forget something?
We're going to have a talk with somebody.
Who?
You really need me to spell it out? The person behind all this.
You mean a Akane.
What?
I'll take that as a yes. Let me accompany you then.
Wait, why do you know about Akane?
I mean, he gave us one of the passwords. Of course he knows.
I'll tell you when we get there. Now, if you please. I'm coming with you. You folks just said the magic word.
I'm going to then. So am I. Hey, is this Akane you're talking about?
Yeah, you know her real well.
Wait, you're serious? What the hell is going on?
Ark, shut up! Just shut up. Come on, come if you want to. We don't need to do roll call. Once we get there,
This is the
Akane
man
can
who-
explain everything.
Says the man who always does a countdown before he puts the key in the locked and the escape room.
Yeah. With that, we headed back through the airlock. Man, if it turns out we could always just open up the number 9 door from the other side this whole time, that would be funny as shit.
Yeah?
Every single ending where someone got out early, there was the possibility of them just opening the door again and just being like, hey, so yeah, if you guys just get 9 points, I can just open up the door again. It's cool.
Ah, clever. The number 9 door on floor A is shut forever once the game ends. Assuming Zero Jr. was telling the truth, of course, but the door on floor B...
Yeah. Thought we might be able to take the lift to it. And it
Yep.
looks like I was right.
Yep.
Any idea where Akane might be?
Yeah, the grave.
You mean the grave in the garden?
Yeah, don't worry. I don't think she's buried there or anything. Chances are she's alive. Just in the grave. Anyway, let's move. To the garden.
That door thing is very reminiscent of 999 with the two doors, the two 9 doors.
Yep. It's a Q!
Wait, our bracelet kills us if we go through the number 9 door without having 9 BP. Does it kill us if we go through the number B door without 9 BP?
I mean, the game's over. The 9 door open.
Yeah. So
Is Akane really under here?
we wouldn't even need everyone to get 9 BP. We just need one person to get 9 BP, go through the number 9 door, go up, take the elevator to the number B door, and let everyone out.
Yep.
Fucking hell. So many bad ends where actually we all could have gotten out. Well, okay, except for the ones where Dio was the one who got out. Because, you know, he ain't fucking doing that.
Oh, God, no.
I think so.
What should we do? Are we gonna dig her out?
No, I don't think we'll have to do anything like that. You see the keyhole in the grave? If I just insert this here, I pulled the key off my ankle and fitted it into the hole. I twisted it to the right until I heard something click. With quiet grinding, the grave began to shift.
What is this?
It doesn't look like a coffin.
Yeah, it's a treatment pod.
Oh my god.
It is, isn't it?
The glass on the cover had frosted over, making it opaque. I couldn't see who or what was in it.
Let's see what's inside.
She grabbed a hold of the lever on the side of the pod.
No good. I think it's locked.
What?
Treatment pod TP00. Stage 1, defrosting complete. Stage 2 will be complete in 10 minutes. Once stage 2 is complete, the lock will automatically disengage.
Oh, God, that's gonna let Dio know about
cold
us, and
sleep.
he's gonna
What?
pull some shit, isn't he?
These pods can put people into cold sleep. It uses something called CAS to freeze human bodies without destroying their cells.
So, Ms. Akane's like an ice cube?
I think so.
Then we gotta wait till she melts?
Yeah.
So how about you tell us your story while we wait, Kay? Specifically, why do you know Akane?
The typing's coming through a bit loudly.
Sorry?
I remembered.
What do you remember?
Everything. I was born and raised in this facility. It's called Rhizome 9. A rhizome is an underground plant stem that spreads by sending out roots. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This facility is a little like a rhizome. Supposedly, that's why they call these installations that. The number comes from the facility's number. There are 54 rhizomes on the moon, and this is the 9th one. Well, I suppose the other ones don't really matter to you, do they? In any event, I grew up here with Akane and Zero Senior. I watched them create the AB project.
The AB project?
Yes. Its purpose is to send Phi and Sigma, or their consciousnesses at least, to the past.
Back 45 years, right?
Yes.
So, you want us to change history, huh? Go back and keep Radical 6 from getting out, and stop the reactors from exploding. That's our mission?
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
It's true that the ultimate goal of the project is to keep Radical 6 from spreading to the general population. But even if you do make it back, you won't be able to do much. By now, it's already too late.
Too late?
What do you mean?
Let me begin at the beginning. You might be thinking that Zero Senior and Akane were the ones who created all this, but that's not entirely correct. They only followed the histories they'd already seen. It was the only choice they had. Nothing less than the future of mankind is at stake. We need the two of you to jump through timelines while maintaining your memories. That is why you had to play the AB game, and why the chromatic doors were necessary. By forcing multiple options, you could make numerous jumps. We speculated that jumping more would strengthen your memories. The puzzles were also there for a purpose. Some theories hold that a moment of insight when you solve a puzzle strengthens your connection to the fourth dimension. That was the reason for the puzzles. Your infection with Radical 6 was also a vital part of our plan. By slowing down your brain's processing speed, we can store your potential. With that energy stored up, we just had to provide a life or death situation to launch your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Like a bullet from a slingshot.
Wait, hold on just a minute here. You keep talking about Sigma and Phi, but what about the rest of us? Why did you bring us here?
That's simple. In earlier histories, you were all here in Rhizome 9. We needed you here to accurately replicate those histories. Although I suppose that's probably not a good enough explanation for you. In a sense, though, it is the truth. Our primary goal was to replicate history. The rest is... Yes, I suppose I should explain. Very well. I will try and do so in a way you can understand. First, Alice and Clover. They were abducted 45 years and 1 month ago, on December 22nd, 2028. The location is Earth, of course. More specifically, Los Angeles, California. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
After being kidnapped, your bodies were sent to a facility under Akane's direction. You were placed in treatment pods and immediately put into cold sleep. 4 months later, you arrived at this facility. The date you finally arrived was April 14th, 2029. Your trip from Earth to this facility was aboard a spaceship powered by an annihilation engine. Following your arrival, your pods were placed in long-term storage. Does that make sense?
Are you telling me we were sleeping in those pods here for 45 years?
Yes, in preparation for this day.
But why? What do you need us for?
You are an Esper, aren't you, Clover? I mean that you are able to access the fourth dimension. Am I wrong?
Did Akane tell you?
In a manner of speaking. As I've already explained, the purpose of this project is to send Sigma and Phi's consciousnesses to the past. Espers are able to sort of resonate with one another, which can amplify their power. You understand? This is why we brought you here, Clover.
What about me?
We needed your help, Alice, to deactivate Dio's bars.
Huh? But I didn't do anything.
But you did. In another history, you were able to perform prime decomposition in the 25-digit integer that Dio left behind. Only you could do that sort of thing. Because of your feat at mathematics, we were about to determine that Dio had planted the bombs. Then we were able to question him and get the password for the number 31. Finally, we used that information to stop the bomb in this timeline.
Kay has been off of what is in the text a few times.
Without your help, Alice, we would have been reduced to nothing more than so much space dust. This history exists because of your presence. Now, Let me explain why we needed Tenmyoji and Quark. Tenmyoji is simple. We needed you for the same reason we needed Clover. You are able to access the fourth dimension. Almost half a century ago, you used that ability to save a young girl, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
We needed you to resonate with Sigma and Phi, so we brought you here. All it took was a messenger.
Do you want to see Akane? If you do, come with me. I was a fool and fell for it.
And you brought Quark with you. In fact, you insisted that he come.
Yeah, I know. I guess you were worried about leaving me alone, huh? He kept saying he couldn't run off to the moon and leave me behind.
I'm sorry, Quark. If I hadn't been so stupid and selfish, none of this would have happened to you. I never thought this would happen. Can you ever forgive me?
Oh, don't worry about it. I mean, I agreed to come with you. I thought the moon would be way more interesting than boring old Earth. What kid would turn that down?
We didn't see the messenger after we got on the ship. It was on autopilot. As soon as we got in, it headed straight for the moon.
Bam! Pow!
Trip.
Straight to the
Zero
moon.
told me to keep quiet once we got there.
How
I
zoom
don't remember
straight to the
anything after we
moon.
landed.
Then there was a bunch of that white smoke, and we passed out, and when I woke up, I was in the AB room.
Now, Dio, his real name is Left, and he's the leader of a terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. He was ordered to come here. The Myrmidons are under the control of an organization called Free the Soul, which is in turn controlled by a man known as Brother. It was Brother who orchestrated the release of Radical 6 into the general population 45 years ago. Do you remember what Phi mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so Zen, we had that clue a while back when we were telling him that we found out that he was the one who set the bombs. Like, we sort of like pretended that we were a fellow member of Free the Soul, and as a result, he let slip that his name was Left.
The ultimate
Yeah,
purpose of
we
the
Jedi
AB
mind
project
tricked him,
is to
basically.
change history and keep Radical 6 from being released. If we succeed, that would be bad for Brother and his organization. Our success would prevent them from creating the ideal world they're working toward. That is why Brother sent Left, his trusted lieutenant, to this facility. They needed to stop the AB project. So, Dio was given two tasks. The first was to eliminate Akane, the architect of the AB project. The second was to join the AB game and win it. If Dio won the game, the AB project would not be completed, at least not in that timeline. In other words,
So if you think
in
about
that
it,
world,
Dio
if
was
things didn't go as
fucked no
planned,
matter what.
Dio was given a contingency plan. If you cannot murder Akane and win the game, destroy Rhizome 9.
That's why the bombs were only in this timeline, because this is the timeline where he didn't kill Akane.
Yep.
Hence, the bombs.
Can I ask you something?
Perhaps.
How did Brother know about the AB project?
He was also an Esper. We can set Brother aside for now, though. May I proceed?
I swear to God, if Brother Santa, and I hate to sound like a fucking broken record, but I'm just thinking through all this time, where's Santa? Where's Santa? Where is Santa?
No, Brother is Ace! Gintaro Hongo! We were all curious.
Excellent. That explains everyone, save two, Luna and myself. Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility, but I've never left. That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, I've been wondering, who is Zero Senior?
You've already met him, Sigma. In another timeline.
Yeah. Well, I saw a hologram. I still don't know who he is.
Stage 2 is complete. TP
0, 0. Unlocking.
It looks like it's finished. Shall we open the pod?
Yeah, let's do it. All of us gathered around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost, hiding the contents.
Okay, let's get started then. Ready?
Fi laid her hand on the lever and looked around at us. I swallowed. Yeah, anytime.
All right, here we go.
10, 9.
3, 2, 1.
What?
What?
Suddenly, my head was full of memories from other timelines. I'd seen something like this before. The warehouse at floor B. In front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed his mask and saw my own face. I'd never figured out who he really was. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? Didn't make sense.
Okay. I'm getting a drink. Be right back.
After I'd seen him, I was injected with turbo curing, and that was the end of that. But wait. The person in the pod was the same person I'd seen on the floor of the warehouse. Who was wearing Kay's armor?
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be
You
at
should
your
probably
side,
wait until
watching over
Tazi
you.
comes back.
Yeah, I think this is a good point to wait.
He's got headphones on. He can still hear it.
Can he?
If it's like every other time, then yes. No.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Oh my god, you're...
Yes, I am.
I am thou. Thou art I.
Now, Audrey.
Akane Kurashiki.
Oh.
It's you! June! I mean, Akane, from...
What?
But you're old.
Yes, that's correct. I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover.
Okay, but then what the heck was happening elsewhere?
Or you, Junpei.
Well,
Is there sometimes a difference? Is there sometimes a difference?
well, you have to remember, in the K timeline, she was very dead.
Yeah, so to explain this, the man you knew as K in the yellow and the magenta timelines, that was the guy that you saw at the end of K's ending. But during the Cyan route, specifically Fi's ending, well, in the whole Cyan route, Akane was inside of K's armor the whole entire time.
So, we've known two Ks this whole time, sort of.
Yes.
Yes.
Junpei?
Although, wait, he was just saying that he was raised here in this facility. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Akane,
He was talking about K.
long time no see.
This is not the first time Akane has put on a performance, like, at all.
Yeah.
I could barely hear
Which
what
K
they
was
were
the one
saying.
riding the bunny, Zinny? Zin, you're asking which K was the one riding the bunny? The K from K's ending. The guy, basically.
Actual K.
Okay.
is 20.
Actual K.
My mind was still reeling. It felt like all the air had been knocked out of me, and it was all I could do to not collapse right then and there.
When? How long?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse? Once you saved me, you went back to your future. Well, your minds did, at least. I carried your bodies
I'm
to the
back,
third
and
AB room, and
I
then
have
took
mixed myself
Dios
with my
to the
drink.
fifth.
You're gonna need it.
After that,
Yes.
I went into the first room and borrowed Kay's armor.
Fuck this shit. I'm not gonna understand
So by the time
this
you
while
and
I'm
Clover
sober.
came
I'm getting
out,
drunk
you'd
so I can
already-
understand it.
Yes.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you, and then Luna took your body to this sixth room. You couldn't have been in Kay's armor.
No, it was me. In this timeline, at least. In this one, I wasn't murdered by Dio. You two saved me. It's just like Schrodinger's cat. Your actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
What? No, that's nuts.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then? Who's wearing the armor?
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth. Large doses of Soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So, who is he?
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
We've never encountered a mirror, have we? Or, like, seen our own face.
Huh.
I have no idea who he is.
I've never seen him before.
Because nobody else is reacting.
Me either.
Total stranger.
What?
Hey, come on. What are you guys saying? Right here? Same face?
Huh?
Huh?
Are you alright, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
Huh? What? It didn't make any sense. Why didn't they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What does that mean?
Don't you get it? You've jumped to the future from 45 years ago.
I looked around
What?
frantically. A pond. I ran to it and threw myself down onto my knees. I'm Zero Senior, aren't I? Crawling on all fours, I approached the edge. My heart was hammering inside my chest. A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down, calm down. Calm down, damn it. I struggled to take deep breaths. And slowly, I peered into the pond looking for my reflection. What? No, this can't be real. His face.
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb. Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now.
This is why you're void. That you had to voice everything, motherfuckers.
The AB project.
Yep!
Remember that
It was
one time?
me, Barry! I'm the one who set up the AB project.
Shad, I thought Fi was just being an asshole. It honestly
No!
tracks.
There's a lot of
Chloe,
a
what
lot
were you
of-
going to say?
There's a lot of foreshadowing for this, like
Yeah, exactly.
Fi calling you old, everyone giving you really skeevy looks whenever you're a pervert because you're old.
When you
Remember-
brought up the notion of being in college, Alice saying that you must have been there in college for a really old time, and in Quark's ending, Dio just actually calls you a senile old fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck!
Jeez.
Here's another nice one! Remember the security room? When we
Yeah.
were looking at the footage of Kay just tucking us into the room? If you looked really closely, you could see that Sigma had silver hair.
Huh.
Oh, another cool note. When you're looking at the box art for Virtue's Last Reward, notice that one of Sigma's eyes is glowing green. Specifically, his right eye.
So,
The one that has the
I don't believe
magnifying
I've
glass
seen
in it.
the box art, because what I have is the Nonary game on Steam, which is a compilation of both the games. So I don't have a thing that shows
Well-
just the box art
Oh
of one or the
my
other.
lord!
I'm gonna post it right here.
I've shown it before because
Yeah,
of the
I've never
whole-
seen that.
the Master Hand and Crazy Hand thing. I showed you that.
No, the box art that Hannah just showed me.
There's a version of the. I swear I showed you a version of the box art that released before the game came out that had Master and Crazy Hand near Zero's face.
If I did
And
see
they
it,
have
I'd
the-
forgotten.
There's one for 999 with Junpei's hands and
No, it's
Akane's hands.
VLR. No, specifically VLR. It has Master Hand and Crazy Hand
Anyway.
in it. Oh, one last thing before we continue. Remember in the ending where Tomiyoji sees this and then he immediately betrays you? Yeah.
This is why he found out who Zero Senior is.
What? Well, don't leave us in suspense.
Huh?
Bun.
Taze went, oh! Like he was about to say something.
No, just... So here's a picture of all the cast. Notice that Sigma is wearing the same outfit that he is wearing in the
Can you post it where I can see it?
sleep pod.
It's in the...
It's in the Twitch chat.
I can't alt-tab to click on that without risking fucking up the capture.
Oh my god.
One sec.
It's usually not been a problem because every time someone posts it to a voice text thingy as well.
Not Sigma's fault.
Okay, so...
I mean, yeah, that's the outfit we're used to him wearing.
Yep.
Yeah, just... I don't know, just... It wasn't much of an observation, but it was just one that I'd made.
Anyway.
Is you.
Dun, dun, dun!
What? No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No, it's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to do you any good. Please, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
You will be a pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Create?
His name is Kyle Klein, your clone. That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself. 23
By the way-
years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle.
Yes.
Do you remember how the first, in the Warehouse A, there's the anagram that says "Till Milkmen Go Comedy"?
Yeah.
Take the first phrase, "Two milkmen," and reverse the word of milk. What does it say?
Yeah, I mean it's the last name, but
Yeah,
To
two
climb
men on the moon.
Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future.
Oh,
When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him.
what's up?
So remember Luna's password? Milkleov?
Yeah, I was just about to mention that.
Backwards, it's I love Klein.
Yep.
Yeah, the worst ravioli.
Yep.
The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's. If nothing was done, the reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you
And that would be
prepared
very
for
bad.
that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't
sucked
forced
whenever he had to
into
pee.
it for the nonary game. He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
But why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare. If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place. I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima and the B means body. Anima is another word for the soul or the consciousness.
I believe it's
Body
Greek.
is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Keep that info filed away.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person?
Sigma,
Yep.
do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes. Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Let's see. Down a test site, up to rhizome A, from there. B. Down to the test site.
Akane will
E
explain in a
branching off.
moment.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making. A is where everything began. December 25th, 2028. You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future.
That makes it
I
22.
believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out.
He also said something about like feeling sore and stuff.
Moving on, if you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27th, 2074. That is today.
Whoa.
Wait, so we've been in this game for 2 days?
Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
36 hours to be exact. Have you already forgotten?
And a half,
You were
technically.
all infected with Radical 6. The virus slowed your brain down, so yes, 36 hours of real time have passed. But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh my god, I just realized
Now
something.
comes the important part.
What?
I was like, wow, Akane is speaking really slowly.
She's not
and
infected!
methodically.
After this, your consciousness will return to the past. It will re-emerge at point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened.
She's speaking slow on purpose so that we can understand her, which is why she is coming across as extremely methodical.
Yep.
The story does not end there, however. The line
What was the Akane here? Just gotta.
I can check.
Thank you.
After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body until you reach point B. Do you remember when B is Sigma?
Yeah. The AB room. According to what you told us, it's 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
Point A. December 25th, 2028, the day all of this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
Once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C.
So, she is voiced by Cindy Robinson, who is the voice of Tani Senna from Final Fantasy XIV, Amy Rose from Sonic, Wilma from Cassette Beasts, Makoto Nanaya from Blaze Blue, and funnily enough, also Zero the Third.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at sea.
So it's rotating?
Rotating. I suppose you could put it that way, but look at this illustration closely. What if you take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path.
Well, except for where it branches off at point E.
With one exception.
This line here at point E, right?
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028, the day of the total eclipse.
The day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes, by now you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out by jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve 2028.
Yes. That is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point, so that we might save humankind from destruction and undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
Tell me one thing.
What is that?
You said that point C is January 27th, 2074, which is today. It's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon.
Soon?
Yes.
And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
And how do you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain.
What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out. I mean this.
Dio's knife? No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Fi! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving toward Fi's chest. I was almost there. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. I almost said tombstone by mistake. I have been poisoned. On it was written a few words in Latin. Tu fui, ego eris. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be.
And then it plays the orchestral version of this song.
We have finally reached Fi's ending, but we're not done yet.
Correct. We still have to witness a nuclear bomb.
And check out the secret files.
That too.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dragon Cat, it's not GG yet.
Not yet.
Not even close.
Yeah, they have already told the others who have already gone through this game have already told me that it's probably I'm probably not going to reach the end in a single stream.
Like,
Yeah.
you got like maybe like another hour, maybe 2.
No.
Calm yourself. This is new.
This is actually the other version of the song too, if you just skip it every time.
Oh. So, I have a question while we're sitting here watching the credits. What is everyone's favorite character?
Luna.
I thought you were gonna say, Zero Junior.
Okay, well,
I mean, Zero the Third by default is the best, but if we are not counting him, then Luna, yes.
Yeah. The 03 is my all-time favorite.
Fi is very close, though.
I'm gonna have to say Fi. Luna comes close though.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely Luna.
We're not done, by the way!
You got a new destination! Let's see where it is.
Way
Hello.
back. Headquarters, April 13th, 2029. Wait, I'm curious now. Okay, it's not like it's not telling the things. Oh, it tells me how many archives I've gotten in each. So when I'm doing cleanup to get the notes that I missed, I have an easy way to find out where they are.
Yes, you do.
Today is April 13th, 2029, and this is the evening news.
I feel like pretty much every furry has been like Zero Junior.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't have any news to read. All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... Excuse me. I've managed to keep us on the air until now. But I'm out of tricks. It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be cleansed of this horrible plague. Goodbye.
Oh god.
I kind of figured that was how it was going to end, but I didn't want to say so. Like, when she said it's time to sign off, I'm like, I was thinking that, but I didn't want to voice it. Let's see. For a moment, I just stared at the TV. The roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room until with a click it disappeared too. Had the power gone out? I heard footsteps behind me and turned around. You. Akane?
It looks like the first step was successful.
What the fuck? You killed me!
Killed?
I guess technically you're going to kill me 45 years from now, but still!
Hey, no need to be rude about it. I didn't kill you. I hit you with the butt of the knife. You're fine.
I'm okay?
Yes, you and Phi needed to experience a state of crisis. That was the only way.
Me and Phi?
Yes, I only told you about you, but we also needed Phi to jump. Now, you know what happens next, right?
We go to the moon?
Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029. We've nearly finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and additions. You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9, along with 3 treatment pods.
Alice and Clover, right?
Yes,
What about the third one? Who's in there?
Phi. We put her into cold sleep 2 days ago. She appeared at our headquarters and volunteered to be frozen. That wasn't the Phi who jumped from point C, though. It was Phi before she jumped from point A to point D. In other words, she was following the same path you are, and she still is.
That means after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body?
Yes. The point C version of Phi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years, sleeping in ice.
And when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
Correct.
Sleeping in Ice 9, rather.
Huh. So that's why she didn't look old. So why don't you just stick me in one of those pods?
We can't do that.
Why not?
You haven't figured it out? You have to spend the next 45 years working on the AB project. After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming, among other disciplines. Otherwise, you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph. And, of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets.
Man, you're putting a lot of work onto me.
You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark. Once you've completed all the preparations, then the project can actually begin. January 25th, 2074.
Hello,
You will
Phil. We're
defrost
seeing the
Phi
ending.
And carry her to the 3rd AB room.
You should fix that.
Yeah, I pinged the group.
Well, that would explain it. You don't have Earth's Stream Squad attached. Let me fix that for you. There you go.
Ah.
But I don't know if Phil
Once
also
you've
has
done
mine,
that,
but
the
If only
22-year-old
they
version
wa-
of you from point A will force you out. And you'll just go back 45 years to your own body on December 25th, 2028.
And then I change history? Do you really think I can keep the virus from getting out?
You have to. If you don't, billions of people will die. Only you and Phi can save them.
What about you? Aren't you an Esper too?
I can't do anything on my own. If this is going to work, I'll need your help.
So, what do I need to do?
What do you mean?
Like, what specific actions do I need to take? When Phi and I jump to point A, what are we going to do then?
You'll both enter the Mars mission test site.
And after that?
I don't know.
What?
I'm sorry. I really don't know anything about what happens in there. We don't know how the Radical Six escaped. We don't even know why it was there in the first place.
Ah, crap. And we're screwed.
That's why we need your help. You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult, and I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger. But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Wait, how do you know it's so dangerous?
The 67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus, so I suppose you could say you told me after you failed.
What did I say?
That the test facility is full of traps. There was one point. A woman's life was in danger. You risked yourself for her sake, and lost your arms and your right eye.
My arms and my right eye? What the hell? Suddenly, a low rumble shook the building.
That explains why we had robot arms in the future.
Yeah?
Yep.
What was that?
Go have a look.
I moved slowly to the window and peered outside. It cost him an arm and an arm.
Ed and I.
On the horizon, I could see a massive mushroom cloud climbing slowly toward the sky. Would we really be able to change the course of history? No, that was the wrong way to look at it. It couldn't be a question. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. I stared at the darkening skies above us and steeled myself. I would succeed. If the credits play again... Achievement, Fire and Ice. Saw the end. Or maybe the beginning?
That's interesting. I thought there was one more place you could go.
There is.
Oh, yeah!
Okay, so... This is... I'll just preface to say, unfortunately, this is considered non-canon.
Yeah, this is non-canon. They were cooking, but they didn't cook enough.
He's voiced.
I see you've finally woken up, Kyle.
Kyle.
Ah, yes. Of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline. It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
I'm back. Guessing that Loey and Hannah have already addressed that this final bit was not originally intended.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just nonsense. Also, if you want to, this will also be a good time to check the studio files.
You've got a lot to read, buddy.
Yeah. Should I read through those, and, like, do this section next time or something?
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
I will say, like, if you're going to continue next time, I'll also say next time might be a good time to also start ZTV too.
Yeah, we can probably start off with these next time. I lurched upright, jumped off the bed, and ran around to the other side of the partition. The mirror of the sink was covered with a film of dirt. I wiped it off with my sleeve when a reflection stared back at me.
I kind of wish they did do something with this, because I find this a lot more interesting than what we got.
There was no mistake. The reflection belonged to...
Kyle Klein. So, I'm Dr. Klein? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
An excellent question, one I didn't quite know the answer to myself. I knew who Kyle Klein was. In another history, he had been called K and had worn a suit of armor. He hadn't just worn the armor in that history, though. Apparently, he'd worn it all his life. Kyle had been born and raised in this lunar installation, which seemed to be called Rhizome 9. Rather late in his life, Akane had appeared as a mother figure. He had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him, but even though I knew it, I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Klein? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. A spitting image of Sigma Klein in his younger days. I looked down. There was Dio, still handcuffed. I turned around to Luna.
What day is today?
January 27th, 2074.
Today is the last day of the AB project. Akane has explained everything in the garden. And she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
About 5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes.
Why am I here?
The doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden.
So the person you call the doctor is Sigma Klein, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness.
Yes, but how do you know that?
Dio seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil whenever he gets restless.
What about the others?
They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance.
Oh,
I mean, this is kind of cool as a, like, okay, what are the rest of the cast doing in this timeline? Because, I mean, like, we go back, we change the path. That doesn't change their present, though. They still gotta live in this timeline.
right!
Yeah.
Mr. Klein!
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
What are you two doing here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
You plan to return then? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here. Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore. He's Dr. Klein now, or Zero Senior, depending on how you look at it.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Well, I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
How's staying here gonna help? You're gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened. Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, nature doesn't work that way. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not gonna change. In fact, it's because of what he did, or didn't do in the past, that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example. Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast. So one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. "Let's go northwest," he says. So they take the northwestern road. But about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually, they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly has his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body just before they reach the junction. He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anybody would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy. And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident?
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right?
Right. Okay, 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living? Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure.
Speaking from experience there.
That 10,000-mile
Yep.
journey would be full of stories, friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase
Damn,
all
I
that?
guess after his
The survivors
experiences
overcame their
with
own misery
the
and
second
loss.
Nonary
They made
game,
the best they could of the
Junpei
hand
has
they'd been
gotten
dealt.
his glycerin moments.
Isn't that worth something? Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness, even in a world that hates it. Are you saying
They
that's
fucking
worthless?
meant to that, Tenmyoji. I'll
If
drink
you're
to
saying
that shit.
rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can Look, I'm just not going to accept that, all right? You get it?
If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet.
Is he right?
No, it's not going to happen. We're here right now. This is reality. Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just going to disappear or something.
Let me tell you about string theory.
Oh, then that means we get to stay together? Good.
Thanks, kid.
I understand how you feel. Why you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
Bye, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see them again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
Well, no point saying anything to Dio.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you.
You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline, after all. What about Sigma?
Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore.
Of course, he is Dr. Klein now that his consciousness has returned.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy who brought us all here. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know?
And Akane?
Never mind her. She's just like him. Not the Akane I knew. She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
Damn.
Damn.
In the end,
He'll never get back
Clover and I
onto
were just
D-Deck.
pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we were completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand. But
Kinda sucks, though. I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen.
But we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point.
You told us about Tenmyoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here. Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
It's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
are we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind 45 years ago.
Even if it is for the greater good,
It just doesn't seem fair, does it?
yeah, it's a little bit much.
So we went and talked to the old lady.
She told us that there is one way.
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least.
Yes, you're right.
But this is different.
Different. How so?
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too.
That's ridiculous. It would create a paradox. How could you have 2 Clovers and 2 Alices at the same time?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a way around that.
How on earth does she plan to do that?
Schrodinger's
cat.
Oh, hey,
Look,
Kyle.
it's easy. You just go back in time and just never interact with your past self. I mean, technically, if they go back in time to after they had gotten kidnapped, I mean, that sort of resolves a lot of paradox issues.
Figured you'd come here eventually.
It's a closed loop, essentially.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now. There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious. Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it?
Sure.
Glad to see you. There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However,
except the
I imagine
termites.
there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all your questions, but unfortunately, my circumstances make that an impossibility. I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I have instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is.
Fuck you.
What does he mean, other than Kyle?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask?
Oh, right, well, I guess I may as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Phi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman or Spider-Man or Aquaman or a Merman or a Wolfman.
Okay, but are you Wonder Woman?
I'm not a Brahmin or Kamen or Ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Please don't dodge the question. About 5 hours ago, Akane attacked you with a knife. That triggered something which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody. Although by then you were in cold sleep. You wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years. You slept there, frozen, until the time was right. Then on January 25th, 2074, you were finally thawed out, even though you didn't wake up. Still unconscious, you were carried to the AB room. That was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out and sending you back to December 25th, 2028. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility. Unfortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed. Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right from Point E, you headed straight to Point D. Point D being April 13th of the following year. That was the day that you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods. Another consciousness enters your body around that time from the future. It is, of course, the version of you that left your body when Akane attacked you in the garden. This caused the two versions of you to swap places. You moved 45 years into the future, where you woke up on the garden floor. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time you spent in cold sleep, for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened. That being when you were sent back into the past from the garden. Have I missed anything?
This is the find that's not been with us from the game, correct?
Correct. This is the one that went with us to the test site.
Yeah, okay.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
Ain't that a fucking moon?
It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly speaking, you can't combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus v1 times v2 over c squared is the actual equation. Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c squared, which is the speed of light squared. That means that 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close to 1. Since that would mean dividing by 1, it's usually okay to just skip that step and use v1 plus v2. You see what I'm saying? In most situations, it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
I don't quite understand. In fact, I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So was that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you?
Yes.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms? And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Why?
Because it would change history. There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of Point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red. The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear. You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know?
You're about to go back to the past, right?
The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden. You just woke up. So how can you know all this? You know my past. Sigma's past.
I shall give you your answer. You are not Kyle Climb. Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness is not. Think about it. Do you really believe you're Kyle, or could you be someone else entirely?
Okay, but then that begs the question, where the fuck is Kyle?
Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness?
He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028. His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much the Doctor loves Kyle. He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here?
Yes.
I know what I told the others, that Kyle was Dr. Climb's spare, but that was not his only purpose. Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish. This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus. For this to happen, Kyle is absolutely necessary.
And that is why he created him?
Yes.
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the Doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission.
Correct.
There's one thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching Point B from Point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas in 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose you could put it that way, yes.
That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, not at all. You can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system. As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you.
I have no idea what...
Please don't try to play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too.
You are sitting in front of a screen, holding a controller.
You are about to go into the past and save the world. Phi and Sigma, even with all of his future knowledge, will need your help. Only you can right the horrible wrongs of our past. Only you can save the world.
There's no way
Yes, there is. You have to. Don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know what happened in between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028?
Then, buy the full game. Congratulations for beating the Shareware version. Sorry, that joke's probably a bit old for a number of people.
Well, yes, I do.
I got it.
Well, yes, that's because you're as old as I am.
Then you must believe. Reality is shaped by what we believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality? Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine. Remember what I've told you. Only you can change history. Only you can save the world.
I mean, Chad, in a way, Shareware does still exist. It's called picking up the demo version on Steam before you purchase the real version. Many of them even allow you to carry your save file over.
Yeah, this unfortunately was non-canon, which I think kind of sucked.
Okay, but then where the fuck do I go?
Well, you're
anywhere
done
you
now.
want.
You're done. Game's over.
So, the implication I got from folks saying stuff was that it would take me, like, over 2 hours to reach the end.
It's been a long time. I thought it was gonna take longer. What?
I see. I see. Well then, I guess... I guess
mean,
we're doing the third game next time. I'm probably not gonna load it up, and I'm probably not gonna load this up and just look through the files. I'm probably just gonna do that off stream, because I don't think watching me go through a bunch of text is necessarily exciting viewing.
That's fine.
And also,
I will be extremely grumpy if you do not show those files.
Okay.
I've wanted to see those files all fucking game.
Well, why don't you sit next to him while he looks through them off screen?
Will not be exciting seeing him go through a bunch of text, says the man who just went through 3 hours of non-stop text.
Okay, but that has visuals and
Visuals, he says. Yes, the visuals of words.
You know what, forget it. I can look it up later.
You can sit in the room while I watch it. Anyway, Shad is also saying he's interested, so fuck it. Okay, next time, I guess we are starting off with reading a bunch of files.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yes, you are.
And then I'll load up the third game.
You guys have fun with that, because next week I'm not going to be here because I have social obligations.
Also, I already know who everybody is going to be voicing in the next game.
Cool.
Here's a fun fact, Earth. You're going to be pulling triple duty.
Yay. Okay, where's a good one? You know
I just hope I'm not voicing who I think I'm voicing, otherwise
you
I'm gonna
absolutely
be very upset.
are.
Damn it!
Alright, I'ma head out. See ya.
Take care, everybody.
Right. I am just going to wait until it lets me save so I can load. Okay. Alright. Next time, we read a bunch of files and then start another game. I will see you all next time.
I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Take care, everyone.
So long.
Take care.